Hello everyone and welcome back. This is game number 2 of the match between Freelancer and Belle here in the losers bracket. And there's some very interesting things about this match. Number one, you're not supposed to, but the same map has been chosen for the second match. We're at Shinano River, this time in, not wintertime, probably summer. So that's kind of interesting. What's also interesting about that, this is Freelancer's choice, and having lost on the last battle to a very skilled opponent that has a very specific mindset, that chooses a map that's very well suited to that mindset, and having just lost against that, picks the same map with virtually the same army. It's very interesting. He might have a plan here, or maybe he thinks, okay, I know what she likes, and so I'm going to build an army to counteract that on the same map, where she'll probably be doing the same thing. And on the one hand, he was right. She is pretty much doing the same thing. Both armies in this map are essentially identical, so we'll see how different this one ends up being compared to the last one. Now, sometimes long skirmishing battles do kind of exhaust Belle, and she doesn't like to do them in rapid succession, so we may see a little more aggressive style coming out of Belle. Just wanted to mention the Kisho Ninja there real quick, and I kind of got stuck on it, but I should be over here because Belle's bow cavalry are now shooting. And with Belle up in the series 1-0, on the verge of victory, that means the Mori could get a rare victory here in this tournament, so we'll see if she can pull that out and put off the curse of the Mori, at least for a little while. Now let me just check the bows here. Yeah, they're still Ashigaru, so really essentially the same armies. We haven't seen it. Oh, there the cavalry are coming out of hiding, and we'll see where they're going. I'm really interested to see what he's gonna do with the cavalry. Maybe think, well, anti-skirmishing, or what he's gonna do. It's gonna be interesting. Bow Ashigaru moving up as well to kind of watch the bows. Now watch this, Belle has 3 bow cavalry still, and she has the archery dojo. That's going to be huge. And with the farmhouse that she's going to get, that's going to be a big skirmish advantage. She's going to have the speed and the better missile skills to win this battle. The farmhouse taken by Belle and the archery dojo, so she's going to be at a big advantage here. Melee cavalry running out as well. I believe these are great. No. These are, one of them is Great Guard and Light Cavalry. You can actually tell they're Great Guard now because units that have like a morale bonus will have a little radius on the mini-map. And oh man, Light Cavalry gets hit right away with Light Cavalry and just immediately start wavering. This Yardie Cavalry is pulling back across the water, but gonna get caught and already wavering from that charge from the Great Guard. Down 20 men. And doesn't look like they'll be standing very much longer at all. And there goes what we see of being half of Freelancer's cavalry. 2 units we just saw barely pop out of the forest right over here. That's 2 out of 4 units gone, and Belle's lost barely anybody. About 15 men in total on her cavalry component. Going to be very unfortunate for Freelancer. He is in a bit of a tough spot. Again, we're looking back at the armies and thinking, well, what are the shock troops? What's going to win the battle for him? And he's losing cavalry fast. Does have a match lock though. We're going to have to see how he's going to press this, because it's a very relevant point here about how he's going to win the... Belle Cavalry moving back up to the beach to start skirmishing again. Boy, I don't know how I kept a constant stream of talking in the last game. If this game is as long as the last one, I don't know how I'm going to do it, folks. But I assure you, always bringing you the highest quality Shogun casting, I will do my best. Kisho Ninja still hidden here. Might be a little more aggressive with that. It looks like by their trajectory they might be going to the production building in the middle, which has been captured now, by the way. Looks like Belle might be on an ambush patrol and finds 2 Yardie Cavalry, so good surveillance there by Belle. Maybe we're positioning themselves to try and lure Belle across the river perhaps, but it's really hard to lure her to go anywhere because of that bow cavalry. She won't budge. If she can shoot back at least. Oh, a fire attack hits the bow cavalry really nicely, sending a flaming horse all the way across the river. And killed about 10 men, so that one's down to 46 right now. The other 2 are totally fine though. So we'll see who's she's going to be shooting at. If she's going to bother with the bows, maybe not. Shooting into the Naginata monks. That is one different addition to the Freelancer. He does have monks now, so maybe a little bit of extra infantry power there to maybe turn the battle in lieu of cavalry. Ooh, the cavalry has come out of the trees for Freelancer. Almost missed it. But the blinding grenades from the Kisho Ninjas are going to really hamper this Yardie Cavalry here going up against a Great Guard and Light Cavalry. But the Naginata Monks coming out of the trees too could end up beating the melee cavalry here. which I believe is all of Belle's cavalry except for one Grey Guard way on the other side here, and a light cavalry, so he could take out Belle's cavalry component, at least most of it, right here. But in return, he might lose all the cavalry himself, because Yari Ashigaru is coming to join the fight, which will do a good job of killing the cavalry right here, so he might lose all of his cavalry in this engagement, which would again put him in a bad position, similar to where he was in the last battle. Bombs going off now into the Naginata monks, knowing that her cavalry is essentially done for. Doesn't need to really worry about friendly fire, as there's no point trying to just put off their deaths. And there go the Great Guard, broken with 24 men. Bombs still going off into the Naginata monks. Not really killing anybody at that point as they were moving right after the bombs were thrown. And going into melee. We're actually having a separate little battle here on this side. This is sort of like Gettysburg, started as a little skirmish and kept drawing in more and more units until we have a major conflict here on the east side. Another Yari Samurai is coming in, a matchlock. Ooh, this matchlock Samurai is going to do so much damage if she can set him up real quickly, and they are stopping. Let's see what kind of damage they can do. Not a great firing angle, as there's a lot of red there, but they might just blast indiscriminately, not caring too much about the lives of Ashigaru. The first shots have fired. Yari Samurai taking a big volley here, but due to the angle at which they were engaged, it's just going to focus mostly on these guys right here, and they're just going to take the whole brunt of that. Probably about 5 bullet holes each in them. Taking one for the team. That's pretty much, I'm pretty sure that's what the Bushido code is just one line, and it just says, take one for the team, bro. They sure did right there. Fulfilling their samurai armor, and interestingly, Belle has completely repositioned her forces. Bring everybody over to this side, so everybody's just getting drawn to the east side here. But it looks like she got there a little too late and decides, well, I don't think I'll have the battle over here. But Freelancer says, oh, you want to fight over there? Okay, we can fight over there. So this is becoming quite a standoff here across the river, but I think Belle definitely got the better of it. In that she still has some cavalry left to show for it after that engagement. Matchlock Samurai are going to get caught here in the river and routed, and that's just going to leave the Freelancer with basically no shock troop options, except the Naginata Warrior Monk. How many does he have? Two Naginata monks. This one's down to 59 men, though. That's really all he has in terms of shock troops. Unless I miss some Nodachis. I do tend to overlook them. Nope, they're all katanas. So, again, he's going to have to depend on a grinded-out melee battle, and if he gets drawn out of position like he did in the last match, it won't go well for him yet again. Bo Ashigaru are moving too, and he's getting really disorganized here. I think Belle could really make a quick strike here. With this, with this Great Guard, this katana is, his general, excuse me, is completely isolated. She could sneak a Great Guard here and do two things. Either hit the general outright, which would be awesome, or like chase him off and leave this infantry completely vulnerable to another cavalry unit that could come in and capitalize on it. But she's just going to go right for the infantry. Spreads out nice and wide. That's how you want to do it. Look at that charge. Nice charge there by the Great Guard. I don't think they took any casualties before that charge. Well, I guess they did take some bows, but that was mostly in the Naginata monks. Probably killed about 40 people in that charge. Lost a few themselves, though. That Great Guard's only down to 36 men right now. So was it worth it? Maybe. It is going to mean that the grinded out battle is going to go a little easier for her, which, if you think about it, that's the only thing that's going to really pull it in his favor. So probably a good move to have one unit do that, but definitely going to want to keep at least one cavalry unit on reserve for shock troop action. Now let's check on the buildings again. Building situation hasn't changed. Yep, hasn't changed at all. Just wanted to make sure I saw that. How are these guys not out of bombs yet? Maybe they have more in classic battles, I don't know. But Kishin Ninja, 15 men, going to try and just go into the Naginata monks here and do as much damage as they can. Now the high stats on the Kishin Ninja means there could be an interesting little engagement here. Especially, look at that. Just catch those guys off guard and just cut them right down. And then they shatter. They're like, screw it guys, we did our damage, just out of here. Look at that battle. That was a big battle. That was really cool. It's always cool to see battles broken down into multiple parts like we just saw. Even when it's just little Kisho Ninja doing a little bit of damage. And Belle's now moving to position here. It's going to be the Freelancer's job to attack. This matchlock's surprisingly still standing and fighting at 20 men, but they will be shattering here shortly unless the Naginata monks can really step it up and take out this light cavalry quick. Which they very well might. I think there they go. Light cavalry are broken. Ooh, the matchlocks didn't last long enough, and they are gone as well. So again, all he has now are swords. It's going to come down to straight steel, head on. And Belle might be the one actually pushing this attack. In fact, having no dachis in her force, we probably will see her be the one making the first move. Katana Samurai moving into the Yari Shigaru. They are in Spear Wall, so it's going to be a little bit tougher for them to... The Great Guard are coming over. Were they like routing it? Nope, they weren't routing. They were just moving and actually pulling them out. Kind of interesting. I think should have maybe kept him there and had him grind down on that unit, just at least to distract him and split up his army. Nodachi's coming and get the charge off, but didn't have Bonsai active. Killed about 40 men, 40 and 30 men in each of the units, so not bad. That's actually a Katana Samurai, not a Nodachi, so... This Katana Samurai moving in now, getting a nice charge off, and with those charges, that's going to put Belle in the advantage in the infantry battle. Katana's hitting the Yaris there, will win that no problem. Yaris versus Naginata monks will be a little closer. And now Belle is sort of surrounded here, but if the Freelancer can't move in and hit from multiple angles, I think Belle's going to have the advantage here because those charges in the beginning really turn that in her favor. The one unit, I believe, has already routed. Nope, they rallied. Or they got annihilated. I don't see them on the minimap. Naginata monks moving in for Belle. And the general for Freelancer is getting in the mix now. Not going into stand and fight, he's just going right into melee. A good move by Freelancer here to try and take out this chunk here on the right, but a bit of a micro mistake, and the Naginata monks get stopped just short of their charge. That guy takes the entire charge on himself, once again following the Bushido code. Not a good firing angle, going to be going right into her own Yari Samurai, and they are getting hit by those bullets. Katana Samurai are moving over now, maybe just running off the Yari Ashigaru, but redirecting, going to the match next. So this will be closer. Actually, Freelancer's managed to maneuver himself into a pretty decent position, but he still has units back that need to get up to the front. Belle's managed to push through this side of the force, and the Naginata monks are finally getting into the battle here, but ooh, his general's down to 5 men and wavering. There goes the general for Freelancer, so we're going to see some mass wavering now, and Belle looks like she's going to pull it out and conserve her position in the losers. Sorry about that, folks. These battles are so long, I ran out of hard drive space. Imagine that. So that's actually going to be the end of the battle. Alright. Sorry about that. That's kind of crazy, but there it is. Belle takes the series 2-0 against the Freelancer in a what happens to be the longest 2-match series we've had so far, but it's a lot of good skirmishing action if you're into that sort of thing. See you back on the main menu. Alright, well, forget longest 2-game series. That might be the longest series, period. Clocking at 34 minutes. Insane. And actually, what's interesting about that is Belle won as the Mori, so nice to see the Mori get a win for once. One thing about that match, with the Freelancer, probably should have chose a different map than Shinano River. I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of that second match, but maybe seeing how patient his opponent was, should have probably picked a rush map like Rice Fields and just tried to push a heavy attack right away rather than choosing a skirmish map where he could just get picked away at by those bows. Patience definitely not one of my virtues. I'm just exhausted just watching that match. Can't imagine playing it. Anyway, congratulations to Belle, who has won the match and going on to losers round 3. Freelancer is out of the tournament, but that's the way it goes in Fishy's March Madness. I'll see you all in the next match. Thanks for watching.